Looks like this package is headed to your chamber later this week. Just to start out, how are you going to vote?
Well, based upon what I know and what I've read about that the agreement contains, I do not plan to support it. You know, we had taken a principled position throughout the shutdown that we desperately want the government to reopen, but we don't want to do it without also ensuring that people have affordable health care. The shutdown happened at the same time that people were receiving their massive increases in premiums under the Affordable Care Act and many other healthcare entities as well, coming right on the heels of millions of Americans losing their insurance under the One Big Beautiful Bill. It was an assault on Americans' health care, and that is a critically important fight as well. And my analysis of the agreement doesn't indicate that we're going to be able to say that we've truly supported people's health care and lowering health care costs.
So what just happened here, Congressman? Last Tuesday night was framed as a big win for Democrats. The president was upset about losses that had clearly been inspired by the shutdown. Republicans were seen to be taking the blame. By the end of the week, a jailbreak in the Senate. And I'm curious what you make of the timing here and whether you've heard anything about a vote on these Obamacare subsidies, because every Democrat we've interviewed on this program said the promise of a vote was simply not enough.
Well, the promise of the vote was only on the Senate side. Obviously, the Speaker, Johnson, has indicated that he's not going to allow that on our side, so that he was not part of that agreement. That's another big reason why we should not be considering voting in favor of this. We need to ensure that we're going to have a real opportunity to lower health care costs. But let's talk about Tuesday, because the Democrats did win overwhelmingly on Tuesday, particularly in the purple states of New Jersey and Virginia. That wasn't about the shutdown per se. It was about the totality of what the Republicans are doing. These tariffs that are raising costs on the American people, the One Big Beautiful Bill vote that decimated health care for Americans. Mass deportation is unbelievably unpopular. And I think that was a strong statement by those purple states that they are rejecting Trump and they're rejecting MAGA type politics. And we're going to win the majority in next year's election. We're going to win it going away, because as long as these Republicans just keep doing whatever Trump tells them to do, they don't stand up for themselves. They just roll over and allow him to run everything. The American people are saying that's not the kind of politics we want to see in Washington.
But, Congressman, if there was a promised vote in the House that mirrors the one that we're expecting in the Senate on extending the Affordable Care Act premium subsidies after the government reopens, would that be enough to get your vote on board now to reopen the government?
Well, it's too early to say that, because we have to know what exactly the vote would be. What would be in the vote? Would it be the Democratic proposal? We want to keep the cost of the Affordable Care Act down permanently, and I know that's a very different viewpoint than the Republicans. So I just think it's too early to answer that, because we don't know what would be in that vote. That wasn't negotiated in this agreement, and that's really a very unfortunate thing.
Congressman, the president on Truth Social is talking about health care and health insurance that's pulling shares of health insurers lower today, saying hundreds of billions of dollars in federal funding that goes to what he calls money-sucking health insurers under the ACA should be sent directly to the public. He says he's recommending to Senate Republicans that this money be sent directly to people so they can purchase their own, in his words, much better health care and have money left over. Do you know what he's talking about, and could he do that without Congress?
Of course, we don't know what the president is talking about. And my feeling is, here we go again. The president with his repeal and replace politics as it relates to the Affordable Care Act. As you know, he talked about this incessantly in his first term in office, wanting to repeal it. And then they asked him, well, what would you replace it with? And he had no idea, concepts of a plan or whatever he said. The truth is, the American people support the Affordable Care Act. I was part of the class of 2018 in Congress. We won 41 seats because we ran on protecting and supporting the Affordable Care Act. I cannot believe the president is doing this again. And it's wrong for the American people. It's wrong for health care. But politically, it's good for the Democrats, because we're again going to be running for Congress, and we're going to win overwhelmingly by standing up and defending and supporting the Affordable Care Act. The Republicans would be much better off if they just came to an agreement with us to lower health care costs in America to support the Affordable Care Act. But instead, they keep following Trump off this health care cliff, and he continues with his talk of repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. We don't know what he's talking about, but we do know it's a step in the wrong direction.
But if this is an issue that Democrats do well on, and if this is an issue that requires time to hammer out a deal, I know that you still need to look at what this legislation in front of you this week is going to look like. But why not pass to reopen the government and then use January 30th as the new pressure point so that Democrats can make the conversation about health care and put forward a plan that works and gets agreement to actually enact it for the American people. In the meantime, you have money starting to flow in to alleviate some of those pressure points, like on our air traffic control system and for SNAP food benefit recipients.
Well, we're going to keep fighting to lower healthcare costs for the American people. We want to lower costs overall. We're fighting against these tariffs that are increasing costs for the American people. And we know these decisions of the Republicans, both in the One Big Beautiful Bill and now the decision not to support the Affordable Care Act, not to continue with these tax credits, which make it more affordable. We know how bad it is for the American people. We're going to fight for it now and continue to fight for it. And if it doesn't get done now, we're going to continue to fight for it. This is not a one-off thing or a cynical thing. We believe passionately that we have to lower costs for the American people. And that is why the reason why we took such a strong step in the last few weeks is because people were receiving their premium increases in the mail at that time. So we wanted to make that point that we need to lower healthcare costs. We need to get the government open. We need to do both. It's not one or the other. And that's the principled position that House Democrats have taken.
I want to ask you about air traffic controllers, because someone like yourself has more than a couple of hours to fly when it's time to get back to Washington this week to vote, I guess, at some point in the coming days. The president is threatening to dock, to use his word, dock the pay of air traffic controllers who took time off, as he puts it, for the Democrat shutdown hoax. Those who did not take time off, he's recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for what he describes as distinguished service to our country. Does he need Congress to do either of those, or both of those, Congressman?
Yeah, we saw with the whole Doge thing with Elon Musk and him coming in and trying to unilaterally fire a bunch of employees and do it indiscriminately, and then they had to beg these employees to come back because neither Elon Musk nor Doge actually understood what they did. This has echoes of that. Look, all of the air traffic controllers are our heroes, and many of them were not able to work the overtime that they normally worked because they weren't getting paid, so they had to do child care or some cases had to work a second job in order to have some level of income. Those air traffic controllers are the heroes of this shutdown. In fact, I went so far as to say that I actually supported Secretary Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, in lowering the number of flights at the 40 busiest airports because safety of the traveling public has to be the highest priority.